Hey everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're doing another unit overview. This time we're looking at the British Comet Tank from the new Bulge British book. We're very excited for this book. It's the last of the Bulge books, and the British have some really cool stuff in it. We'll be talking more about the book in general in another video, but in this video we're going to be doing a unit overview and looking at the late war Comet. Pretty much the ultimate evolution of the British kind of cruiser tank, medium tank concept, and it's a really cool tank to bring to the table. If you are like me and you like medium tanks, medium tanks I feel just hit the sweet spot for the game, then the Comet is really a tank you're not going to want to miss. Alright, before we dive into the stats, I do just want to mention that we do have our Flames of War Patreon, where patrons get exclusive Flames of War Battle Report for them every month. You can check that out below, and also check out YouTube memberships. Members get access to early access videos, badges, emojis, all kinds of goodies, and both of those are ways you can help support the channel and help us continue what we're doing. Alright, thank you. PSA over. On to the unit. Okay, besides just being a sweet looking tank, basically a beefier version of the Cromwell, the Comet has, so in the British book, it's hit on a 4+, so it is careful. It has front armor 7, side armor 5, top armor 1. Its motivation ratings, the base motivation is confident 4+, but it does have that protected ammo remount of 3+, and a skill of 4+. So, the armor is, we'll talk about that first, is alright. I mean, front armor 7 is pretty good, particularly if you're fighting other medium tanks that might be slinging AT-10 or AT-11 if it's a Panzer IV. But anything bigger than that is really not too worried about front armor 7. So front armor 7 is good, though. At long range, it has the potential to equal a AT-14 shot. Because at long range your front armor 7 would go to 8, and if you roll a 6 that would be 14. So you could conceivably equal a AT-14 shot, but really that armor is more for keeping you protected against, again, other medium tanks like the Panzer IV, or if you don't play just always Axis versus Allies, if you play blue on blue, normal Sherman tanks and lighter tanks would have a hard time penetrating. Still doable, but front armor 7 definitely is a lot better. Alright, the side armor 5 is better than the American counterpart, like the Sherman. Still, it's not great. You're still going to be penetrated in assaults on the side by defensive fire pretty easily, but it's better than nothing. And then top armor 1 is pretty standard. Then those motivation and skill ratings, a 4-up is, it's fine. That's 50-50. You got a 50-50 chance of blitzing. You got a 50-50 chance of, keeping your unit around if you fail. So not that big a deal. And then the remount of 3+ is nice to reflect that protected ammo. All right, so speed-wise, the Comet has a tactical of 12 inches. So it's got that light tank 12-inch stat, which is really nice. Terrain of 14, cross-country of 24, which is really nice. You can redeploy up to 24 inches, 2 feet, on open ground. And roads 28 with a 3-up cross-check. The really nice thing that the Comet brings to the tabletop is a 77mm gun. Basically, it is I don't know if you will say it's a cut-down 17-pounder, but a 17-pounder that's been modified to fit this chassis of the Comet. It's got a 36-inch range, 2-in-1 rate of fire with an anti-tank rating of 14 and a 3-up firepower, and you can also fire smoke. So all around a fantastic gun. It's like a Panther long 75, the German 88 have very similar stats. So it's very nice. 36-inch range is fantastic. They can outrange most other medium tanks that have a lower caliber gun. So really, this is like a a Sherman armored unit with light tank stats carrying a Panther's gun. So very nice. And then also the Comet has 4 machine gun shots, no 50 cals, just 4 machine guns, whether you're moving or halted, and they're just the standard 16-inch range, 6-up firepower, anti-tank 2. So overall pretty good. So the Comet is, as you can imagine, a really nice tank, and I think it's at a good price point that you could get this tank and have a good amount of them in a list, or have a list that has a decent sized platoon of these and still have a lot of room for extra stuff. Now, how can you take the Comets? Well, the Comets, you can take them as a Comet armored squadron, or you could take them in as a support platoon for another formation. The Comet armored squadron is pretty easy. You have a Comet HQ, which can include a Comet plus some of those CS tanks. And then you have 2 mandatory platoons. One of them has to be a Comet armored troop. The other can be either Comets, Chaffies, or Stuarts. So if you're looking to save some points, for other stuff, you could throw some Stuarts in there. If you want to double down on Comets, go for it. Non-compulsory, you could take up to 2 more Comet armored troops. In the core formation, you also have a reconnaissance slot and an AA slot. The AA is the ever popular Crusader AA tank. Not too bad. At this time of the war, I don't see a lot of German players playing with air, but the AA tank is nice for shooting up softer targets, half tracks, armored cars, punishing infantry out in the open. So even if there's not air, the Crusader AA tank has some purpose. And then you can take either in the reconnaissance slot, I think it's Chaffies, Stuart Recce, or Dingo Recce. So you got Chaffee Recce. So in your core formation, you could have up to 2 platoons of Chaffies or Stuarts, which is nice. Or take those Dingoes. But the nice thing is, with the addition of the Crusader AA troop and one of those reconnaissance platoons, if you're adding that to your core formation, you're going to have a pretty solid core formation, which is nice. And that way you don't have to worry about losing your tanks and having your formation break. It's just it's just icing on the top to be able to have a more secure formation. And again, the other way to take it is just take a Comet platoon as a support platoon for another formation. So normally in these unit overviews, I compare the tank to its most common type opponents. And I think here we don't necessarily need to talk too much about that. AT-14 is devastatingly threatful to Panthers and Tigers that only have front armor 9 or 10. You're not going to be penetrating them automatically, but a German player can't be carefree or cavalier with their very expensive Tiger 1s and Panthers when these guys are on the field. They're not impervious, and the Comet's going to have like a 50-50 chance or even better of penetrating those tanks, which is really nice. Even when you get into late war, where the Germans start fielding the up-armored Panther, which has a front armor of 10, AT-14 is still terrifying to them. For the amount of points you're paying for the up-armored Panther, you don't want to lose it to one of these tanks. Okay, the main comparison I wanted to make in the video is this guy. Let's compare the Comet to, which is I consider the premier British medium tank, to the premier American medium tank in the American Bulge book. So these are very apples to apples comparison here. Basically, the veteran version of the Easy 8 and the veteran, I mean careful hit on 4s version of the Comet come in at the same price point. They're the same cost. Now that is just a vanilla Easy 8, And just to remind you, the Easy 8 has a front armor of 7, same as the Comet, a side armor of 4, just one weaker, but really in the grand scheme of things not that big a deal in this context. It has very similar motivation and skill ratings, although the Sherman in the base formations that you get has a tactics rating of 3+, which lets it blitz a little bit better than the Comet counterpart. Speed-wise, the Comet hands down is better. It's like a light tank, so it's going 12 tactical, whereas the Sherman is only going 10 tactical. 24 inches cross country dash, only 18 for the Sherman. So the Comet's much faster. If you're playing a fluid game style, the Comet's going to be a really nice tank to have. Now, a place where the Easy 8 is better is the cross-check. The Easy 8 has a 2-up cross-check versus the 3-up on the Comet. Now, for me, I fail 2-ups more often than I fail 3-ups, so it's a wash. But, for an average dice-rolling player, that cross-check of 2-up is really nice. Weapons-wise, the Comet really wins in the main gun category. The Comet, again, has that AT-14 36-inch range gun, which is really nice. The Easy 8 has a 76mm gun with AT-12 3-up firepower. So the firepower is 2 less, AT-12 versus AT-14. The Easy 8 is also hobbled with the no HE rule. So there's no HE, which is harder to hit gun teams and infantry. And it does have the stabilizer rule, which is a big plus, which in essence gives it a moving rate of fire of 2, whereas the Comet only has a moving rate of fire at 1. But it is one harder to hit your targets when you are using the stabilizer. Odds-wise, 2 shots with the penalty is, I think, better than 1 shot without the penalty. Your mileage, again, may vary. But that AT-14 is just the tipping point. For example, front armor 10 Panthers versus AT-12 Easy 8 is not going to be too worried, particularly long range. But you can't say the same thing about the AT-14, which is really nice. Now, I will mention that you can upgrade the Sherman's gun to AT-13 for, in essence, half a point per tank. But that does make the Easy 8 a little bit more expensive than the Comet, which is unfortunate. But again, now you're at AT-13, so the Comet's still better as far as pure AT, and that gun is still better at firing at artillery and anti-tank guns and whatever, gun teams and infantry teams. Now, machine gun wise, the Sherman, the Easy 8 wins because it's got a 50 cal plus 30 cals, so it's really firing like at a standstill 5 shots. 3 of those are 50 cal shots, which have much better AT and firepower versus the 4 shots max that this guy can get. Which is nice. I mean, the Americans are known for their strapping machine guns on everything, and the Easy 8 is a good example of that. So overall, I mean, they're very, when we do a direct comparison, they're very close. I think points-wise, the Comet is a little bit more attractive in that it's that AT-14 is awesome, and it doesn't have the no HE penalty. The Easy 8's a little bit more versatile, just because it does have a better cross-check. It does have more machine guns, but overall I think it's very close, and that reflects the point values between it. Now, there are some other factors that might make you consider the Easy 8 a better tank, but they're not directly related to the Easy 8's stats. For example, you have a lot more upgrade options on the Easy 8. You could upper armor it with better armor. You can give it the high velocity armor piercing shell. So there's a lot of things you could do to make these more expensive, and you can throw a jumbo into a platoon with an Easy 8 to try to do mistaken target to remove shots that are targeting your EZ8 and put them on a jumbo, which has a better chance of bouncing high AT weapons. But those are more kind of soft, reasons why you might prefer the EZ8. But just on a tank by tank basis, boy, that Comet is certainly scary. The other downside for the Comet is that they are pretty strict as far as composition. Unlike the Americans, where you can downgrade some Shermans, you can upgrade others. The British construction of their platoon is pretty strict. You lose any tank, you're going to be losing an expensive tank. The mitigation strategy of the mistaken target rule isn't quite as powerful with the Comets. But that said, it is what it is, and that's something that I think British players of Flames of War have had to deal with for a while, is kind of the smaller platoon sizes and the potential to get that break test earlier. But overall, I am really impressed with the Comet and its stats, and I think it's going to be a great tank to include in British late war forces. The other thing I wanted to mention, the last thing, is if there were any upgrade cards, there is a card you could add Reg Snowling, Reg Titch Snowling, which is a really nice upgrade card for 2 points. And what you can do is you can discard the card to reroll up to 2 misses and up to 2 failed firepower tests for this unit by Comets. You could also put this card on Fireflies, I guess. But I mean, that's kind of amazing. This 2-point card basically acts like you can reroll 2 misses and 2 failed firepowers. That's like 4 extra luckies in your pocket for 2 points on an AT-14 gun. Fantastic. No brainer. I feel like most of these cards, command cards, are too expensive to usually include. But I think this one is a no-brainer for Comets. But there you go. All right, guys, so that is my quick unit overview of the Comet tank for the British in the Flames of War Bulge British book. Pretty excited to see this book. Pretty excited to get some battle reports out soon enough. And you can see these guys on the table. Again, if you like our Flames of War content, check out that Patreon. And if you just want to generally support us on YouTube, please consider joining. And if you don't want to do any of those, a like and subscribe would be fantastic. Thank you for your support. Thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.